From exciting rookies to big free agent acquisitions to consistent mainstays, this is a Toronto Blue Jays pitching rotation that has got a lot of headlines this season and has a lot of people excited. So, is it worth the hype? Let's break down the Blue Jays pitching staff as we continue our look at the Blue Jays ahead of the 2026 season. If you think the Blue Jays are going to make the run that I think they're going to this year, you obviously have to think highly of the pitching staff. And already they have had a bit of turmoil, as on the IL to start the season is Berrios, Bieber, Savage, and Bowden Francis. That's a pretty good 1 through 4 to have already on the injured list, but still, Toronto can come out with a very competitive rotation to start the season. This is obviously the strength of this ball club. Kevin Gausman's going to get the start on opening day Friday night against the Athletics, and I'm just assuming he is going to be steady. He is going to be consistent as he has been. He has an opportunity to move into the top 5 in a few categories for the Blue Jays this season. And when you look at some of the big games he won for this team a year ago, this is a guy who has really embraced being the ace of the Toronto Blue Jays. And now he has a really solid number 2 behind him in Dylan Cease. And the reason I'm so optimistic about him is Cease has been a workhorse. And there is 5% of me that is just a little bit worried that, this guy has just been a lock, 200 innings for a long time. It's like, boy, that feels like an arm that's about to give out for a guy who just got a 7-year contract. But he has been so consistent, such a reliable innings eater, and now is going to a team with a pitching coach who has got the most out of Robbie Ray, got the most out of Gausman, at times got the most out of Berrios and Yusei Kikuchi also. They haven't done great throughout the system of developing pitchers. We've talked about that at length, but they've done a really good job of developing pitchers and getting the most out of them at the major league level. And I think Cease can be that. Just a couple of tweaks to his repertoire and his mechanics. And there's a very, very, very good pitcher. He's already a very good pitcher, but I think they can get a little more out of him. And also, the Blue Jays defense is far superior to the one that he was pitching in front of last year. So I think a lot of the numbers are going to look really good for Dylan Cease, and we could see one of his best seasons. Savage is obviously going to be eased along throughout the year, starting him on the injured list, getting a couple of outings in AAA Buffalo to start things off. So that's going to... The regular stats aren't going to be there for him, but I think he's going to be really effective again. But the good thing is that with him, we'll see what happens with Bieber dealing with that injury. That feels like one that maybe kind of lingers all season long. But the good thing, whether it's Bieber, Berrios coming back, Scherzer coming in, Ponce, Lauer, you're not just relying on Savage to, you have to be this guy who was able to get these big starts for us and be this guy who can be very effective in these outings. There's going to be a point where teams figure out to maybe not chase so much. I said it during the postseason that the Yankees had a lot of chase in their game. The Mariners and Dodgers were a little bit better about it, but he was still able to adjust to that right away. We'll see how he's able to adjust as the season goes on, as teams start to figure him out. Obviously, a big X factor is Ponce. Huge strikeout numbers in KBO. Last time he was in the majors, it didn't go well. But again, he has a skill set that Pete Walker really manages effectively. And it feels like he has learned some stuff in his time out in Asia that he can bring to the Blue Jays. So rotation-wise, it's an incredibly deep group. They are pushing those limits already, but it's a really, really deep group that you feel good about. The bullpen is a point of contention for a lot of Blue Jays fans. Hoffman blowing the save in Game 7 of the World Series and blew a number of saves last season. But he also was just nails in a lot of outings as well. I think the thing that helps him, and we talked about this in the over-under preview, the thing that helps him the most, I think, is there are more leverage guys for the Blue Jays this season. So before, it was him Like, it was him and Garcia. Those were the only guys you trusted in close games. So he was getting 6-out saves in like May. And then the wheels kind of fell off a little bit. He was able to get it back on track, but it never really got back to that dominant level that you felt good about. But now in a leverage spot, you feel good about putting Rogers out there. You feel good about putting Varland out there. You trust when Garcia comes back that you can put him in those spots as well. With the lefties, Fluharty was nails in some really big spots. And eventually the starting pitching depth is going to allow a Lauer to come into the bullpen and pitch in those spots. Maybe a Ponce as well, or a Scherzer, or someone like that. You Savage even. So they have guys that they feel comfortable with in leverage, that it's not all going to be on Hoffman early in the season. And I think that's going to be able to extend his effectiveness as the year goes on. So in terms of what could be coming behind these guys, a lot of people wondering if Tiedemann plays the role of Savage this year, coming in late September and helping out with a postseason run. That would probably be out of the bullpen, given some of the limitations with his arm and injuries in his career so far. We saw in the WBC, Mako is pretty close, but we have also seen this is a Blue Jays team. While I was frustrated that they weren't more aggressive at the deadline in bringing in some bullpen arms, this is a Blue Jays team that will add and will look to help out this bullpen in any way that they can. So Scherzer, we haven't even talked about him coming back, pitched some huge games for the Blue Jays in the playoffs. But really struggled in the regular season, especially toward the back end. Sounds like he's feeling good this year. Will he be good for all 162? Maybe, maybe not. But I think he's going to play a bit of a role as well. There's no denying. Like, at their best, if you could just turn injuries off and everyone pitches to their baseball reference page, this is top 2 or 3 rotation in Major League Baseball. No question about it. But the thing that makes you feel very good about it is the amount of Major League caliber depth that the Blue Jays have in the rotation. And that's not something they had a year ago. Spencer Trimble was starting games for this team. Easton Lucas was starting games for the Blue Jays and was one of their better starters in the early part of the season for this team. So it has long been a frustration of mine that they have had exactly 5 Major League starters in the rotation. Now they have 10 or 11 that you feel good about, and that's an excellent spot for the Blue Jays to be in. If it's going to be another run into October or November, then this is going to have to be a pitching staff that helps carry the way, and I think they are more than capable of doing just that. Where are you at on the Blue Jays rotation for the upcoming season? Let me know in the comments, and we can keep the conversation going there while you're here. Like, the comments are right there. Sometimes you have to scroll a little bit, but I mean, you're watching right now. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. Also, we do go live on YouTube, Twitch, and Kick. So if you're on YouTube, hit the notification bell, and that'll let you know the next time we go live. Continuing our look at the Toronto Blue Jays, we now have a couple of best bets on the year for Toronto. Couple over-unders here, and then pull up some playoff odds and see how we think the team is going to do that way. But let's start with the over-unders for the upcoming season for the Blue Jays, and this may surprise you, but I'm going over on a couple of these, or going positively anyway, for the Blue Jays. So up first is Daulton Varsho. I've said before, I think that there is a real breakout coming for him. I'm not surprised, but I'm interested at where the numbers are at. His home run total is at 24.5, and his RBI total is at 74.5. He was around those numbers last year and missed most of the season. He's had a great spring. Looks like he has figured some things out with the bat. He had a very good postseason as well. I think there's a lot to like about Varsho, so I think he clears both of those numbers. Not by a ton. I don't think he's going to keep up the 45 home run pace he had a season ago or 120 RBIs, but I think it's going to be close at the end of the year, but I think we're going to get both of these with Varsho over home runs and RBIs for the upcoming season. While we're sticking with the home runs, let's go with Vladdy. 30 home runs. I think he hits more than that. Like I said, it feels like we've had a leveling up with this guy. And if I'm going to talk about a little bit of a sprinkle on him at plus 1,300 to win the MVP, then I gotta think he's going to hit more than 30 home runs this season. So we'll take the over on that. The one under we're doing is also a positive for the Blue Jays. It is under a 3.65 ERA for Dylan Cease. Like I said in our pitcher preview, I think working with Pete Walker, getting the most out of his mechanics and the most out of his repertoire is going to be huge for this guy. But the biggest thing is he's now going to be pitching in front of one of the best defenses in baseball. That was not the case with the Padres. I think that this is going to be really beneficial for Dylan Cease on this team. I think he could have some very, very good numbers this year for Toronto. So I like under 3.65 ERA for him. Let's take a look now. Blue Jays, regular season wins. The total, we found it before at 87.5. This site has it at 88.5. So we look like the over on that, which is paying even money right now. Longest win streak of the season is 6.5. That's longest losing streak. Sorry. No, we're not going to venture in that. The longest winning streak of the season, 7.5. Eight games is that's a really long win streak. So I would probably go under on that one. It doesn't feel great, but I would probably take the under on that one. Those aren't going to be ones that I click on. But let's take a look here because there's a couple other futures that I kind of liked with the Blue Jays. So of course the site is crashing on me right now. So we just won't roll with that. That's fine. So yeah, those are the best bets that I have for the Blue Jays here for the upcoming season. Let me know, and any others that you have your eyes on as we look forward to the Blue Jays starting things off against the Athletics. Check out the Couch Potato Diary podcast. A lot of Blue Jays coverage coming up this season, so check us out on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Really trying to grow the channel, and it would help out a lot if we could get a few more subscribers there and start keeping the Blue Jays conversation going all season long.